Coming to you alive through the power of the interwebs. Inside the Green Room studio from the flagship source of the Earth Mix Garden Products Network, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates, bringing you all the wisdom and wit you'll ever need to tackle your garden and your projects. Now broadcasting alive from Bates Nursery and Garden Center at 3810 Whites Creek Pike, just 1 mile north of exit 19 off Briley Parkway, or 0.9 miles as the Josh drives. Here's Josh Cary and David Bates.
Oh yeah, everybody knows what that music means. It's now time to climb a tree, don your loincloth, survey the backyard, find a project, lay it in the unmarked grave of history. Welcome in, everybody. It is the At Home Show. We're all in here this Saturday morning.
Yep.
Coming to you live from the Green Room studios here.
Hey, what are you doing over there, Michael?
Trying to make him sound better.
I think, well, maybe turning him down would make him sound better.
Well, no, that's not what I did.
Okay. But, ladies and gentlemen, he switched to the old mic from the new mic that I was using last week.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that actually is exactly what I was doing.
I think he was. But we're here, and it's Saturday morning. It's a bit damp outside, David Bates.
It is a little damp, but it's a far cry from where we were last Saturday.
Really?
It was 11 degrees when we went on the air last week. A heat wave, comparatively 56 here in Music City. Mm-hmm. And today, of course, is Saturday, the 27th of February, as it is quickly escaping us. It will end on a rainy note. And today we're looking for a high of about 61 degrees, maybe a half-inch additional rainfall today.
Oh, boy.
But the most of the rain will occur tomorrow, maybe 2 inches of rain in a lot of areas. Some could even see, and locally, there are spots that could see as much as 3 to 4 inches, depending. There were some yesterday that got quite a lot, mostly south of town. I don't know about where you were, Josh, but it was
dry in the 37167.
Driving down here, there's a creek that I cross. I don't know the name of it, but I mean,
Sycamore, probably.
It was right up to the bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was full.
So anyway, we're going to have wet conditions through the weekend, but things look to be improving quite a lot on Monday. 54 for the high and mostly cloudy, maybe a little peak of sunshine, a bit more sun on Tuesday, still 54 degrees, 58 Wednesday, and 63 on Thursday. Maybe some showers returning again by the weekend. But the temperatures and the overall outlook of the lack of snow, which is very much appreciated. I don't know about you guys, but I was worn out with it.
I was too. When this time last week, they were actually calling for a chance of snow this coming Monday before they changed everything.
Yes, but right now there's no sign of any
chance.
There's no sign of any temperatures below freezing.
No,
currently,
there's no chance.
56 degrees here in the Music City, and we appreciate you tuning in today. You know, we're live here every Saturday morning from 8 until 9 a.m. Central Time.
Yes.
And you can check us out on Facebook Live. Matter of fact, if you are watching us right now,
share it, please.
Please share it. You may also see us on YouTube.
Yes.
And a little later on, we put it out there on LinkedIn.
Twitter.
It's on Twitter.
Yes.
So wherever you find us, that's
like
where
it,
we are.
Share it.
Yeah.
Retweet it.
And you can interact with us by picking up the phone and calling 615-499-6690. Now, what you can do is either leave a message there and Michael will play it over the air, or you can simply text us a message if you prefer to do it that way, or you can message us through our Facebook page, The At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates.
We are monitoring the At Home Show page. It goes out. Now, David's subscribers to the newsletter get one. If you follow the In the Garden with David Bates,
it's actually In the Garden with Bates Nursery.
Same thing. If you follow Earth Mix Garden Products, it goes out there as well. So.
Right.
So it's kind of tough to catch all these links, but the best way to interact, if you want to leave a comment, is right at the Facebook page.
Yeah, do it right there, and we'll find it, and we'll...
Because it's a visual podcast.
Has anybody else done is anybody else doing a visual podcast? Because we do. If you have a podcast subscriber.
I think there's a lot of people doing it anymore. Yeah, I think so.
Not as good as we do it.
Well, that is for others. It's the eye of the beholder and the ear of the beholder rule. So I don't know.
But you can get us. There is a podcast wherever you subscribe or find your listening pleasures.
Should announce we are expecting a guest on today's show, so we'll hope to hear from.
We're doing a fill at this point, is what you're saying.
Well, what I want to do is that I want to take just a couple of minutes here and show the last bit of the Perseverance rover landing on Mars, and this is actual video. This is not animation. This is the Mars lander at this point is still attached to the sky crane, and you'll notice in a second now it has broken.
Did somebody order it from Amazon? Is that how they're delivering it?
This is the links that Amazon's now willing to go through. Actually, this is the Perseverance rover, which is is sitting down on Mars. You see, it's about 300 meters off the surface. You're going to see dust kicking up here in just a second as the rover starts to come down, and now this is on the left side of the screen. There, you see the bottom is the actual rover itself, and the top screen is the sky crane or what delivers it. And then when it touches down onto the soil, and you'll see that a lot of dust gets picked up there. The cables are cut, and then you'll see the sky crane fly away.
I thought we got Matt Damon off that planet.
Yeah, we did. He did so. It was something he was sciencing the something out.
Oh, okay.
You remember that that line? So anyway, congratulations to everyone at JPL and NASA for their success. And there's going to be a lot going on. These the first two long-term rovers, which are only supposed to last 90 days, that would be Spirit and Opportunity. Wound up lasting, the shortest one lasted more than a decade.
Then it ran into the shadow, right?
Dust storm got on the solar panels, I think, or no, the first one actually got a wheel stuck and it couldn't back out of it. The suspension on these things and the wheels would wear out. They would have to just go on 5 and then on 4, and so they were easy for them to get stuck at that point. And they were all solar driven. Well, now they have these nuclear power supplies on them where they can go for a great many years.
I've always wondered, why don't they try to send something like this to one of Mars's moons or one of the moons around Jupiter? Is it getting through the asteroid belt?
No. Those are there's no problem getting through that at all. It just, I don't know that
it takes a little while to get there.
I don't know if the moons of Mars are, they have two really small, Phobos and
Deimos.
I can't think of Phobos and who.
Deimos.
It's something. It's
another Greek.
Yeah,
god.
It's the sons of the god of war. That's who Mars is.
Anyway, I don't know if there's enough interest there currently to go there, but there's a lot of interest in going to moons of Jupiter and
Europa, right?
Phobos
Europa and Enceladus.
Huh? Phobo and Deimos.
All right, cool. Anyway, Europa. Yeah, it's got water on it, maybe.
No, it definitely has water on it because it's spraying this continuous cloud of vapor out into space that freezes and then it snows back down onto the planet. That's also what's responsible. That is a Mars satellite, by the way, and moon. And it's the cause of the outermost ring of Mars that you really can't see unless you have a...
I didn't know Mars had a ring.
Not Mars. Saturn had a ring. It does not. Mars does not have a ring. Saturn is what I meant to say. So anyway,
so does Neptune.
And so does Uranus.
Uranus?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Saturn's got a ring to it.
Yes. Saturn has a nice ring, doesn't it?
Does Jupiter have a ring?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they're not... very distinct. You have to kind of be right up on them with a spacecraft. So anyway, interesting time in space travel. And
so if you're on the ring of Uranus, what are you searching for?
Not hemorrhoids.
Probably
Klingons. Ba-dum-bum.
Probably
Dad joke on the At Home Show, ladies and gentlemen.
It's like a bad Adam Sandler joke.
Okay, I can go with that. Oh, by the way, I hear that we're making a sequel to
Happy Gilmore?
Happy Gilmore.
What's it going to be called?
Happy Gilmore 2?
Boy, that's an original title. That's an original title. I do like the scenes in Happy Gilmore where he's actually, rather than the quiet signs, getting everybody to, calling the crowd up, getting them, get up, get loud.
I just like when he beats up Bob Barker or Bob Barker beats up him. So,
I wonder if Bob Barker would return.
didn't he die?
No, he's still alive. I just looked the other day during the freeze. Sarah and I marathoned The Price is Right.
Boy, you live an exciting life there, Tyler.
Man, I can tell you what a tube of toothpaste cost in 1985.
85 cents.
I think it's $1.39.
Oh, my goodness. All right, 615-499-6690.
All kinds of interesting information here at the At Home Show.
You will never, ever run out of
do invite you to participate. Hey, we want to give a big shout out to Phil Crawley, who joined us last week from Anderson Windows, and we really appreciate him coming on and talking all about the incredible line of great products and all of the many offerings. I will say, I got sent out from you, Josh, a little fact sheet about all the things that I did not know about
glass
and window units and replacement windows and new construction and all of the things involved with it. And there's a bunch of acronyms.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an easily confusable subject, but let it suffice to say that
smarter people than the group here are working on those kind of things. It's kind of like our Perseverance. I mean, they have people that specialize in glass technology.
One thing I did gather out of it, because glass is principally filled, multi-pane glass is basically filled with argon, but Krypton is actually better.
In a smaller space.
It's just a lot more expensive.
It's also functions better in smaller air cavities. Krypton is the gas that is generally used in tri-pane glazing.
Well, but I think it's because it's lesser volume.
Plus, Superman can't stand it. I mean,
no, he stays away from. He never looks.
He
out
never
the
comes to your house.
He doesn't stay away from Krypton. He stays away from kryptonite.
It's the same thing. It's just a gaseous form of kryptonite.
Perhaps. 615-499-6690. We have cranked it up around here at Bates Nursery. I don't know if you guys noticed that in the last week, where it looked like a barren waste snowland, that
the frozen tundra.
And now we have come alive again. We have moved the plants back out onto the lot.
Yep. We
have put all the frost cloths away. It'd be nice if they were being put away.
You kept them close, right? You kept them close to the front.
We've got them where we can get to them. I'll put it that way. But because you never know what's going to return. But we have things out on the lot, and if you're going to come out and about today, probably ought to bring your rain jacket, maybe an umbrella, maybe galoshes. All those kind of things are good. You can stay on pavement if you want to keep your feet out of the mud, but there are areas that we've had so much rain that there's just some mud associated with it. So I invite you to come on out. We will be open from 10 until 2 today. And starting next week, we're going to begin stretching the hours out a little bit as we come out of the winter phase. We're going to move towards spring.
You got tomato plants yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But there will be some early vegetables. By the time that we get here next week, it's possible that could be a yes.
Tomato plants?
I said it's possible.
No promises. So
cool season things for sure, though. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, kale.
Spring starts at the end of March. Right,
it's like the 21st or 22nd, yes.
Yeah. So daylight savings time is what, the 9th?
The 14th.
The 14th, so we're about 2 weeks out.
It'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow, yes.
Can't wait. And I mean that sincerely. I like the longer days.
What are you saving the time for?
The actual day length does not change.
Let me rephrase. I enjoy adjusting the clock to where I have more sunshine in the evening.
I would enjoy it fine if we could just pick one.
Yes.
Either
stick with the longer day.
Stay with that. I'm fine with that. Or stay with the standard time. I'm okay with that. Just it's pointless to shift back and forth.
I think it's the holdover from when I was a kid. I enjoy like in the summer when it's like 9 o'clock and it's still light outside.
Moved south and moved to the East Coast.
Well, I had a few weeks ago. I had talked to you guys about Renee and I were going to be taking a trip to Iceland this summer. Not going to happen.
Volcano going off over
No. It's just that the whole uncertainty of COVID and timing of vaccinations. They had to call the trip, and I was going to be there. And there's Tyler got a little shot up there of the lot as we were moving things out this week, and Tyler,
a man of Earth Mix Camp.
Tyler, a man of many skills, including drone operator. He was spiraling upward, as it were.
Is that what the inside of your head looks like all the time, David?
Much of the time, yes.
Let's go back to Iceland here because you're not
going
to be able to get me a
We're not going to be
now.
going to Iceland this summer. So, and that was my point I was getting at was that you were talking about long days. We were scheduled to be there on the first day of summer.
Wow.
Which would have been like a 21 or 22 hour daylight.
And actually,
that would have been cool to see.
I would have. So maybe sometime out there in the future, that could happen.
And
so,
you can see a volcano.
Hey, you know what is no longer in the future?
What's that?
The opportunity to have a guest on the program.
Oh. Is he here?
Well, I mean, I think we can safely say that our guest has arrived all the way in. Okay, hoodie intact from the great white north of Chicago, sporting the Nashville State sweatshirt. Corey Pollard, welcome in.
My. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. I stayed up a little too late.
You're right on time.
Oh my gosh, I see myself in there.
It's
so
you. I know that's a really unfamiliar thing for a guy that works from Hollywood to ever see himself on camera.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Well,
you're usually on the other
plant.
side of it.
Let's do an unveiling. It warmed up and I got a plant.
All
Oh, my
right.
goodness.
I'm doing unveiling here. Give me a second. Oh.
It's one of those avant-garde shots that he learned in
Very
film
happy
school.
to walk down the street with this yesterday.
Oh, you got a croton. Very nice.
Good.
That is a croton. Yeah, that's very much a highlight plant. So keep that right up there near the window. Just don't have it. But yes, it's a nice little touch. It gives you something to mix it up a little bit. So, what are the temperatures like this week in Chicago?
So nice. Literally, I shot outside on Monday and it was 10 degrees and I thought I was going to die. Tuesday, we wake up and it was 50.
And you feel like you could be wearing shorts and short sleeve shirt. And, you know, it's amazing how the human body can adapt to temperature changes because you're a West Coast guy. You don't normally spend extended periods of time in the cold temperature, but
not like that.
You've made an
Not
adjustment
like that.
though, have you not?
I'm getting used to it now. And what's funny is that it shot up to 22 on Sunday while we were shooting. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is really nice.
Unusual to say the least. And by the way, folks, those who are tuning in, this is Corey Pollard.
Yes.
Our very special guest. Now, Corey, your official title is you are the assistant director.
Correct. The
for
first
Chicago,
director, they call it.
For
Chicago Fire.
For Chicago Fire. And you've been in Chicago for how long now as in that capacity?
5.5 months. I was brought on for season 9. They needed to make some changes and I was the guy they called. Very excited.
Well, changes are a part of the way it rolls in your world, right? I mean, changes are...
Oh boy, does it!
Sometimes they work for you. Sometimes they work against you.
Now,
That's
he's
right.
working currently on Chicago Fire, but folks, you will also recognize Corey's work at the Orville. Ladies and gentlemen, the wedding band.
Nashville.
Rizzoli and Isles, Lie to Me, Life, Monk,
If it were not for the show Nashville, we would never have known Corey.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
So, but he's been around. You've been doing this since you were just a mere lad as well.
Are we
Yes.
gonna? Have you got
Very
your shots ready?
Okay. Well,
We want to make sure and get these up so that check out the big screen there. We're going to input 2 over there, and
now here is a
Oh, my
mere
goodness.
slip of a lad. Oh my goodness! Now Corey is identify where you are. David.
can you pinch that out? Zoom, go in a little bit.
I don't know.
You should be able to. With one
That's
hand,
me sitting
pinch-
up on the back of
there
the,
you are.
on the hood. I'm sitting
Right.
up on the hood.
He's top center.
And that, ladies
Use
and
your
gentlemen,
mouse to circle his face.
that ladies.
That's
and,
crazy.
Yep. That is from the American classic film Rob Reiner's Stand By Me. It's one
It
of
really
my,
is. That's crazy to me that it is an American classic. There's so much that's gone on in my life. If I still can't fathom that I got to play a tiny role in that movie.
How many years ago was that, Corey? How many years do you think it is? And then I think Josh has the actual answer. So how many years do you think it is? Well, I froze him up right there, man. I mean, he is.
4. I think
it came out the
that
year.
vapor locked me.
Yeah,
We lost it.
I'm grabbing it. It's got to be 40 years ago.
It's
30.
from the year that I was
35?
married.
35, I think,
Yeah.
is what it is.
1986.
Yeah.
So,
God, that's crazy.
isn't it though? But
Yeah.
truly an American classic, and it is a wonderful film. Now you've also done a lot of big other big movies, and you were in a couple of them. But Waterworld you worked on as well, if I remember correctly.
That's right. I did.
Yeah.
Waterworld, Clear and Present Danger.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun. I got to do a little bit in that too. They played a joke on me. The first AD, we shot a sequence. If you've seen the movie, the portion that is supposed to be Harrison Ford arriving in Colombia and connecting with Willem Dafoe, supposed to be Colombia. We shot it at John Wayne Airport.
Oh my goodness!
Orange County. Now that's one of the most white bread places on the planet, and my job was to coordinate all of the 500 Spanish extras that were brought in to populate. We got to take over the airport.
Now, were they actual Spanish or were they Mexican folks?
They were
Spanish
Mexican,
speaking?
and they were Colombian. Like it was anybody of Latin descent. It was a huge call, and we had to we couldn't park them all at the airport, so they parked at a very nearby military base, and then we bussed them over, and I had to make sure this operation was going all morning long to get them ready to, at 10 o'clock, I needed to have 10 p.m. I had to have all 500 of those extras in place. We had the John Wayne Airport, the last flight that came through there. I can't remember where it was coming from. It actually might have been Mexico, which is funny. At 10 p.m. And then we owned the airport until 6 a.m. when the next flight left from the airport. And so my job was to have literally every single extra in place so we could roll the camera at 10 because it was still not enough time to really shoot what we needed to shoot. And as we were getting everybody ready, and the first AD calls me up to the set and he says, okay, so we need a white, blonde guy about 5'9" to do this gag that we have planned. I'm like, but we ordered all Mexican and Spanish people. Well, let me see what I can do. So I leave and I go to the tents where they're dressing, and I go to where the makeup is, and I'm looking for this blonde white guy. And I came back, I'm like, man, I'm sorry, I can't find it. I go, no, we meant you. I was like, oh. So I was a decoy. You're supposed to think that I'm Willem Dafoe, and it's over my shoulder, and you're walking with this character. You know that he's after, that you know that Willem Dafoe at this point is kind of after Harrison Ford. And so I'm walking and I run into Harrison. I did everything in my power to turn my head so you could see it was me when they spun off his shoulder.
Did it work?
Super fun. Yeah, I believe so. I haven't seen the movie in like 20 years. I think you can see that it's me.
Okay.
It's
well,
fun.
I don't know that they probably didn't take the time to edit you out after the passage of time just to.
Yeah, probably not.
So
maybe.
I'm sure they've gotten all of their editing costs already sunk, so they're not going to put any more into it just to remove you.
So that's an Easter egg for you. And by the way, Josh,
Sir?
I was telling my second AD here in Chicago that I inherited a kid named Tim Jacobs. He's amazing. I love this guy. I'm so grateful that he's with me on the show. He's been on the show since he was a PA, and he worked his way all the way up to becoming the second AD. There's a lot of people on this show like that. This is the most wonderful crew. Aside from my Nashville experience, I haven't had as good of an experience anywhere in the world working currently. I'm so pleased to be in Chicago. But so I was telling him about you guys, and I told him about our spam gag, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so going to do that."
Oh,
so you
wow.
can start watching.
That
And
was
some
my
of
next
the-
question is that, have you had any success planting random cans of spam in shots that you've been doing since
Well,
you've
they got to
been?
have a firehouse meal. What could be?
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
Okay. Fried
Okay,
chicken.
so you've worked
My
on
stand-ins-
Nashville. Now you're working in Chicago Fire. Are there other city named programs that you have worked on?
No, that's it. Well,
You didn't.
No.
You didn't work in the movie L.A. Confidential. You didn't work in that, right?
no, you know what? I did do LA's Finest.
LA,
I did an
okay.
episode of LA's Finest last year, so I guess that I
counts.
did do that.
You haven't
That
worked
was
on
an amazing
Miami Vice.
experience.
You were probably a little young to have worked
I
on
was,
that.
but I did work with Jonathan Nicolella, who directed the pilot on my
there you
very
go.
first movie. That's an interesting story. He was an interesting cat. He tended to mistreat his assistant director. He was a yeller, and he wasn't mean, but it was just
And not
he was
an
like a
old
very
yeller.
Hollywood-
I mean, he was. He was a very loud voice.
Yeah, very loud. Yeah, he was the director. He made loud noises, and his first AD was asking him a question one day, and I was an on-set dresser at this point. I was nowhere near assistant directing. Didn't think that would ever be on my plate as I watched this woman do her job. She was like in charge of everything, and she was trying to ask Jonathan a question, and he was walking away from her. And she's like, "Jonathan, I need to know. Jonathan, I need to know." And he kicked off his loafer and he says, "Talk to the shoe." She ran up and kicked him in his butt so hard, and it was hysterical. It was one of the, because it was like, it's play. We do a lot of really rough hazing play in this business. And in Chicago, I'm loving Chicago because, man, these people have it. It's so funny. They walk and go, they get on you about something. It's all love. It's all 110% respect and love.
Now,
But so this happened on the set. And then years later, my son went to a Waldorf school in Los Angeles. And Nicolella, there was this woman named Patty Nicolella. And I'm like, hey, it was his wife. He had passed on by that point, but it was so crazy that my children went to school with the director's daughter of the very first project I worked on when I was working behind the camera as a young teenager, as 18 when I had that job.
Oh,
and
wow.
all these years later, my, junior high age son was in school with his daughter. I thought that was just crazy.
Okay, now how old were you in this picture right here? And Bobby, can you?
I was 16 years old in that picture. And then 2 years later, I moved to Los Angeles to pursue this circus.
So at this
life.
time, you were actually living in what area?
I was living in Eugene, Oregon. That
Okay,
happened
all
the
right.
summer of my sophomore year of high school
Now,
in
was-
Eugene, Oregon. Springfield, Oregon is actually where I live.
Was Stand By
Across
Me
the
filmed
river,
in-
as it were.
Was Stand By Me?
Exactly.
Where was Stand By Me filmed?
It was filmed primarily in the Eugene area.
Okay.
It was shot in Cottage Grove, Brownsville. Those are all very small towns. The treehouse sequence, when the boys are in the treehouse playing poker and doing that whole thing, was shot in a tree that they built and put in position over Brownsville, Oregon. That was my first day on the set. They invited me to come watch shooting after I'd been hired.
So how did
And
how did you come into that opportunity to have that? Did you just?
Oh my goodness. There are so many things. You sure? It's like taking a sip from a fire hose.
Okay.
Come on.
I mean, yeah,
I guess I'm a guest. I guess that's what I'm
I'm
supposed
trying
to do.
to lob a softball out there every now and then. So you
Yeah. Okay, so here we
make
go.
of it what you will.
Okay, so my very first experience as an extra at 12 years old came from an ad on the radio when a motion picture company came to Eugene, Oregon at that time, and they needed extras, people that stand on the street corner, people that sit in the stands. This was a sit in the stands situation on a movie called The Personal Best. They needed people to fill the stands at a track and field thing. It was a movie about the 1980 Olympic trials. It starred Mariel Hemingway and Scott Glenn. It was directed by Robert Town.
Right.
There's an ad, come be an extra, and I answered an ad, and I did it as a 12-year-old boy. I was an extra. The same thing happened for Stand By Me. They put an ad on the paper, come be an extra in this movie, blah, blah, blah. So 16, I called, gave my height, weight, eye color, hair color.
Did you give them your resume at that point? Well, I actually do have experience. I was an extra. Yeah.
I was in, and no, I had nothing. And so what was funny is I get a call after school, like a week later. I had a substance abuse problem in high school, so I did a lot of sleeping after school. I was taking a nap, as it were, and my sister pounded on my door and said, "There's somebody from Columbia Pictures on the phone." I'm like, "What?" And I got on the phone, and there was this woman, Catherine. Her name is Catherine Crystal now. She was Catherine Wilson then. She ended up getting married. She said, based on your vital statistics, we'd like to have you come in and read for a part. The director is looking for people that look like you say you look. I'm like, this is all being done on like a radio ad to telephone.
Wow.
And I thought, okay. So I go to this reading. It's not Catherine that's there. It's another gentleman. I've never done a reading. I thought it was a joke from somebody in my high school drama class. There was some people who were ribbing me a lot about me wanting to think I could act. And I was in drama class. I had not done anything. I was actually more the makeup artist than I was the stage manager guy than I was an actor.
But did you think when they said you're going to read, did you actually go just sit there and read something?
Yeah. That's what I had to call
not speak the lines, but you didn't really have an understanding of fully what it was that they were going to ask.
I had no idea. I had to call my high school drama coach. I said, first of all, who's messing with me? He goes, no. My agent. This is Jonathan Siegel. He is the town soccer. What do you call him? He's an official. He's an umpire, not umpire. What do they call us? Referee for every soccer team that's in the town, every high school, every league that's in town. He's the guy. So he's also got an agent.
Soccer ref and drama teacher.
Okay, it was Jonathan's middle name
and my English teacher.
Was Jonathan's middle name by chance Livingston?
No, it was not funny. We always joked about that. So he's also my drama coach. I mean, my drama coach and my English teacher. So I call him. He goes, no, you need to take this seriously. There is a major motion picture. That's what he called it, coming to Eugene. And my agent says, I will have an audition soon. I'm like, okay. So I go to this audition. They hand me a piece of a part of a script. And I go into a room with another actor. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I mean, he took my drama coach, talked to me through what you're supposed to do, read it, be natural, as if you're speaking the lines, you'll be fine. You're going to be great at this. I was petrified. And at the end of the reading, I got up to walk out with the other guy. The other guy walked out and he stopped me. The gentleman behind the desk stopped me at the door and goes, God, that was really awful. There's something about you. And I was like, wait, did you just I'm already insecure. I'm 16 years old and I have a drug problem. You just slap me down and build me up all at the same time. What was that? So I left and I heard nothing for a month. And then Jonathan Siegel gets a call for his audition. Salem. There was some spam on Salem. We hit some spam on Salem,
yes,
Josh.
You were.
So I get this call. Jonathan gets the call, and then he calls my father and says, I have an audition at Wednesday at noon. I'm leaving school. I would like to take Cary with me because I think he has the capability to do this stuff, and I want him to see what an audition looks like. My dad allowed it. So I left school with my drama coach, English teacher. We went to this audition for him, and he told me the night before, make sure you wear a T-shirt and jeans and boots. You need to look like a greaser. I'm like, what? I was already kind of punk rock, so I figured whatever. So we we go to his audition, and I walk in, and this is now the first time I'm meeting Catherine Wilson. She goes, oh my God, you're perfect. I said, what? She goes, what's your name? I told her. She goes, oh, we talked on the phone. Get in front of the camera right now. You are exactly the look. The director, and still no one's saying the name Rob Reiner. Nobody, I don't know. It's a movie called Stand By Me. I know nothing. Get in front of the camera, and here's how magical it was. Say your name, your age, your height, your weight, and your hair color. That was all I said. That's, again, all I said. So we leave, and I'm like, Jonathan, what was that? That was your audition. He goes, no, I just had a feeling. I'm like, what? So nothing. Another month, nothing. Then the kid in my class, drama class, I don't know, have you ever had these kind of kids around you, Josh, David, that have to be the best at everything?
Oh, absolutely.
That's Josh.
To be the first.
That is.
I'm seeing fingers pointing. I just was wondering. So this is my friend Peter, and he's an excellent actor. He's still doing it today. He's in the Actors Gang in Los Angeles. He does a lot of incredible charitable work. He is literally living the artist life. He's not Hollywood by any stretch of the imagination. Such a cool guy. So he gets the opportunity to read, but his parents are out of town and he doesn't have a car. My parents allowed me to drive the truck all the time. So he's like, hey man, can you give me a ride to the audition on Saturday? I'm like, sure. So I take him. I am told by my parents, you can take him, but you drop him off and you get back here because we have a wedding to go to. You need to get back here, get dressed, and go to the wedding. Well, a smart kid would have dressed for the wedding and then gone, but not me. So I drive all the way to Eugene, get there, and I walk in with him, and I watch him in the Hilton entryway, walk up to the mezzanine area where they have a table set up, and I go, I wonder what would happen if I walked up there.
Ooh.
And so he went into the room, and I walked up to the table. Hi, I'm Corey Pollard. I'm here. And they're like, okay. And no Catherine, nobody that I know is there. The guy that I read with the first time's not there. So a whole different group of people. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going well. She starts flipping through the sign-up sheet, the list. And she goes, she flips 3 pages. She goes, I am so sorry. There must be some mistake. I said, well, I'm sorry. This is the auditions for the movie, right? Like, why would I be here if I didn't get a call? I don't understand why I can't understand why. Oh my gosh, that was such a great day. I am yelling at Antonio Banderas in that shot. I'm gonna jump into that story. That just 2 seconds.
Okay.
So that's Pancho Villa starring as himself, shot in Mexico. And that was a sequence that we, lovingly called Introducing Pancho Villa. And what that was on the page. This is the classic, Atlanta burns.
Oh, wow.
What does that mean on a page? The Battle of Ojinaga rages on. That was the only description. And then Pancho comes in on his horse. Well, what does that mean? For an assistant director, well, what does that mean? What is the battle? How many people are in the battle? What are they using as weapons? Where's the fire?
What's their motivation? Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I had set a path for him. We had explosions going off. There were 14 explosions. What that sequence ended up being, from the Battle of Ojinaga rages on, we meet Pancho Villa. 119 people, 90 of them on horses.
Oh my.
14 explosions, 12 stuntmen, mestizo Indians that had to have actual archery training because they were firing fake rubber arrows in the air toward people. And all of this goes on, and he had to take a path so the camera that was across the river could see him. And he missed the path. So everything went off, and we had to reset the entire thing and go over again. And so
what could possibly go wrong, right?
Right. Look, dude. And I'm saying, look at my hand. I'm going to walk the path. This is the path you have to go, because we had to reset everything. But anyway, so back to the where you were before Josh in 1984.
There was a squirrel.
So
that's okay.
Yeah, squirrel. Well, that was a great day for me. That was such a lot of fun because he's a great guy. We ended up having a really fun relationship after that, because everybody yells at you when that happens. So we're sitting. I'm standing at the table, and she's like, "I am so sorry." And then she flipped one more page. She goes, "Oh my God, there must have been some mistake." The director, still not saying Rob Reiner, the director is coming up on weekends and reading people, and you're supposed to be here next Sunday. but since you're here, we'll just put you in. Cut to, they put me in the room with Peter, who's looking at me like, what are you doing in my space? And as we're having this tension, and I'm looking at the page going, this isn't going to go well. I did horrible the first time. Why am I even doing this? What would possess me to think, oh my God, like that man is in my head. Like,
now you're reading as a different character at this point, right?
Him and I. Well, yeah, it was really interesting because the character I ended up playing didn't even exist in the script. That was an interesting thing to discover later. But so we're sitting there, and here I didn't say this. My English teacher, drama coach, my middle name is Scott. And so I'm Corey Scott Pollard. My English teacher, when we made up the fake resume for the first audition, told me that I should change my name to Corey Scott. I needed a performing name. And I laughed at him. I said, dude, I am not changing my name. I am not a Hollywood guy. My name is Corey Pollard. That's what it is. He goes, no, you really need to have a performing name. And I'm like, I am not doing it. He goes, okay, at least put your full name on it. Corey Scott Pollard. So I put my full name on it. So the resume was now in Rob's hand that I had turned in at the first thing. Like this was organized. Like even though I wasn't supposed to be there, they had all the stuff out there. So he comes into the room and we're doing this reading and I feel like it's going horribly. And Rob Reiner, when he walked in the room, I couldn't speak. Like I grew up watching All in the Family.
Right.
I grew up.
Now, at this stage, did he have any hair at all? Was he completely bald at this point, or did he still have a little hair?
He had a little hair, but it was mostly on the sides.
Right.
And he's such a big dude. Like literally, I couldn't believe that he was walking in. And I had just at that summer, his movie was out, Spinal Tap. And I just loved it. I thought, this guy is amazing. He directed this and he's in it. And oh my God.
And at this moment, this is the first realization you have that he's even connected with this in any way.
Yeah, it's the first realization that I have that it's not some anti-drug video or the fucking Jiffy Lube commercial, the Jiffy Lube commercials that I was accustomed to trying to read for. And he comes in and he sits down and we do the scene. And the entire time that we're actually reading and doing our scene, he's going, Corey Scott, under his breath, Corey Scott. I'm thinking, oh my God, just like the other guy, I'm so bad. There's something about me, but I'm so bad. And nothing. I get up, I leave, I go home, I get in a lot of trouble because I've now made them late for the wedding. Here's what's weird. My parents yell at me, tell me to get dressed, then leave my younger sister, she's 14 at this point, in my sense, you guys get dressed and get to the wedding. And they left and went to the wedding. I'm like, well, why didn't you do that in the first place? Stay here to yell at me. So I get dressed, we leave. The church is like literally a block from the hotel. And I have no idea what possessed me. I literally drove past that Hilton hotel, pulled into the parking lot. It was as if something greater than me was leading me into this moment. My sister looks at me and goes, are you out of your mind? We are going to be so late. I said, I don't know. I just hold on. I got out of the truck. I went back upstairs to that table. And now Catherine Wilson is sitting there. She was the local casting director that was responsible for all those people and getting this role cast. And she's got her hands over her head. She's going, oh my God. And I totally lie. Again, lying at the table.
Well, that's so uncharacteristic, right?
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of inventory work, and I do find that I am not the most honest character if I'm left to my own devices.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around.
So I get to the table and I say, Catherine, has anybody found my wallet? I think I lost my wallet here. And she says, oh my God, I knew it. When you walked out, he came out of the room and closed down auditions and got on a plane and went back to Los Angeles. You got the part. Wow. You are Moke Brackowitz. I'm like, who's Moke Brackowitz? He's nobody, but he was my first big deal that turned into a classic film in Hollywood. Like, I cannot fathom that even happened to me. So getting to the reception now, boy, my dad was mad. I walked in that door and I was floating on air. My dad described it as, when you walked in, I was so angry at you. And I was holding a contract. Literally, Andrew Scheinman and this other producer came out of a room, Steve Nicolaitis, and said, we're going to just get this contract done. I don't know how I could sign a contract at 16 years old today.
Couldn't.
I can't do that. Every minor, if they're not emancipated on my set, has to have an adult there.
Right.
But I signed a contract that had me making more weekly than my dad made in a month for 7 weeks to do this movie. And he said, I'm holding this piece of paper. I walked in. He goes, Corey, it was like literally the room went silent when you walked in. You were so high on whatever energy you were on from whatever was happening. And you floated across the floor. He's like, what happened? Where have you been? And I said, Mama, I got this part in this movie. And I handed him the contract. He's like, wait, what?
What?
Literally changed my life.
Wow. Fantastic. Now, moving forward into time, I love the Orville. Is it going to come back? Have you heard it?
It is. They're working on it right now. That was too many hours of work every day for me. I really, really enjoyed that show, and I really like everybody involved, but I do not like working 16-hour days to get stuff done. It's just, my life is too short, and I've spent so much time on sets. So I moved on to stuff that is a little more, every single shot on that show is so beautifully calculated by Seth. He is just visionary on that, and it's his
and
baby.
He's perfect as the captain. I mean, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, isn't he great?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and he is so fun to be around on the set. Like, he cares so much about every single detail on that. It's not that I don't care. I just don't want to spend 16 hours a day on a set anymore. If I can figure out how to do something that allows me to be home in like 12 hours, I'm in.
There you go.
And oh my gosh, yeah. But this show, I think this next season will be even better because he just continues. That show was like doing a massive feature film every week, which a lot of them, we really all are now. But we had the benefit of the visual effects, the makeup effects, the stunts. Like, everything we did on that was so top notch and over the top. It was so much and funny.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
It was not like anything that people expect from him. They had current issues woven into these storylines. I loved it. I think it's a great show.
Hey, Corey, if we can ask you to stand by for just a moment, we're going to talk a couple of minutes about where we are today, and then we'll be right back to you. So anyway,
Cool.
Corey Pollard will be back in just a moment, and we're going to talk to you shortly here about Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and also our fine products at Earth Mix Garden Products and Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Thanks to Tyler's efforts, we now have our full-fledged Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp going on, where we have episodes coming out, many episodes a week, the last couple of this week for sure, because we're kind of making up for what we didn't get done last week. So if you're interested in medicinal plants and composting and landscape design, or putting in a decorative container together, all those are coming up or have already been broadcast this coming week. So check those out. Go to batesnursery.com, and you can just scroll down the page there and go to the Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp and click right there. If you want to find out what's going on a more current basis, I invite you to subscribe to the newsletter. I write that every week. It's 350 words, and I get direct and to the point in a roundabout way.
Yep.
Check that out at batesnursery.com. And while you're at batesnursery.com, and when you come out to see us, we invite you to check out our complete line of Earth Mix garden products. And it's not just available here, it's available at fine garden centers all over Middle Tennessee, Kentucky. We're also now into Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. So check that out. Remember this, success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. We thank you for taking a minute. We will be open here at Bates Nursery from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. today. Beginning next week, we're going to start increasing our hours a bit as we officially get into March.
Yeah,
so
and you forgot to mention the pottery, David Bates. I mean, all the pots and
we have a selection of containers, not like we've had before. We have really, and we still have more coming, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
So check all that out. Come out and see us. We're here from 10 until 2 today. And thanks, Corey, for sticking with us here and giving us a moment to speak about what we're part of the reason why we're here anyway. Yeah, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to hold it down. You're gonna have to hold it down a little bit because I think you're looking a little uptight. I mean,
I hear that a lot in my meetings. So you're telling me that I could drive to somewhere in Indiana from here? Because that's very close to me. And I can be in a Bates nursery.
Yes, you can get Earth Mix Garden products right there. So
An Earth Mix retail
Really cool.
partner.
That's super cool.
So yep,
I really
actually,
love this
just go to
whole
the Find
growth
Earth Mix
area now.
tab there and scroll down the page there a little bit. And we'll see where that.
You can wander in Indiana.
Yeah, that's Bloomington Valley Nursery. That's in Bloomington, Indiana. So that would be the closest to where you are currently, Corey. So FYI.
That is so cool.
So
wow.
So we're still growing the expanding that network out there. So we appreciate you being on today. And did you've put your camera on? Maybe inadvertently, but you have your camera turned off.
And you probably switched away from Zoom.
It's a nice little thumbnail of you there.
Is it? Hold on, let me go back. I didn't realize.
So maybe you were wiping your nose or something, and you didn't want it to be on camera.
Wait, I was in the toilet for a second.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
That's what that
Zoom.
last
How about
2
all
minutes.
this zooming?
Yes.
How about all the zooming?
Zooming is something that many of us have become comfortable and relatively proficient at, and and those things have helped us a lot to kind of put all of this together. And we're just 2 weeks away from our first anniversary of doing it here at the Green Room at Bates Nursery. So we've made a little progress along the way. Now we very much value your input as an actual broadcast professional. So.
Industry.
I love it, man. I'm so impressed. And so you guys are no longer on the radio at all? It's just this?
Nope. This is
We
where we
noticed this
are.
morning that we were actually we got our final notification.
Completely digital at this point.
Yeah, they took us. They actually went so far as to take us off the website. So we don't even. But that only happened just in the last couple
seek
of
a
weeks.
broadcast partner, Corey, if you know anybody.
I was going to say they didn't want to hurt our feelings, so they decided not to tell us.
Well, you know what's interesting is that we kind of talked about this a few years ago. I was like, man, it would be really cool if you guys could do something like this. And I'm so curious. I'd love to talk with you, Tyler, offline about it, because I think this is a really great idea. Because in my opinion, please forgive me if you guys don't like this, but when my friends ask me, what do you mean? What do you mean they're a garden show and they're what are you talking about? I'm like, it's amazing. You've got to see them. I said, they're the click and clack of home gardening. I mean, if you know who click and clack.
There we go. There's Tyler. or as we call him around here, old Bluebeard. That's just
Bluebeard.
Stories have been passed down for ages.
RBT.
For ages.
Yeah.
He's got this Bluebeard on.
Well, I'm really happy about the boot camp stuff and what I'm seeing on the website. I'm going to learn. I actually signed up because Stephanie and I are now empty nesters, and I've got little tiny pieces of dirt in California.
Isn't that a strange phenomenon when that happens? It kind of,
oh my gosh, it's amazing.
There's all this stress leading up to it. Then it happens. You go, hey, this is not so bad.
Corey, don't worry about it. She'll be back.
We've been so fortunate though. My son, he launched himself and he's got an amazing job. He's been living with his girlfriend for 5 years now, and
does she know it?
Yes, she does. Well, she runs it, man. That's what I love about her. She does not let this kid get away with it. I just love it. She is a good kid. But the funny thing is, they did it this year. They did the thing. They got a dog.
Oh, that's a serious commitment right there. This is not a flash in the pan relationship. This is a real deal.
It is not. It is not. And so my daughter's in Portland now. Hey, this is a funny story. So during the pandemic, right before the pandemic, she left college. She realized it wasn't for her socially. Academically, she was killing it. But it was a D1 sports school called St. Mary's College of California, and she's a DJ. Actually, she had a radio show there, and she has one now at this new school, Lewis and Clark. She's a very following in Dad's footsteps, little punk rock, and little on the edge, on the air. She's super cute.
Okay.
And she decided that since it was a new school, Lewis and Clark, that she was going to stay home during the pandemic, because she was like, why am I transferring to a new school when I was having social issues, not able to connect with people at the last school in a pandemic, when I can't go to a coffee shop, bar, or a concert? I say, Morgan, you're 20. She goes, yeah, I have a fake ID. Wait a minute. She's very open with me. So she then kicked me out of my den, which I built in the garage, because she wanted to have the sense of being not a part of the family. So I'm fine. We've got a Brady Bunch moment going on there when, he moved into the den. And then she's like, can I get a cat? I'm like, why would you get a cat? I'm not a cat guy. I have a dog. I love my dog. She's coming here. My dog is heading across the country this week with my wife, and they're driving, and they're going to leave my car and the dog here, and she'll fly home. It's going to be great.
Wow.
So she gets this cat and then connects with a bunch of kids online that are at the school and decides she wants to go. I'm like, okay, so you've kicked me out of my den. You have a cat, and now you're going to leave? But I love the cat. I've fallen in love with this cat. I'm building in my new office, which is her old bedroom, a cat terrarium out the window in my mind. I've got this thing figured out that it's going to be able to go in and out the window. I'm like kind of happy. It's like a big habit trail for the cat. Yeah. And I'm thinking, this is okay. We're gonna end up with a cat.
Josh was never a cat guy, but he's become one.
Well, that's what happened to me. Georgie has got me. This cat has got me. So I'm thinking, we're getting this cat, and my daughter figures out that she can make this cat an emotional support pet, contacts the school, gets accommodations for her emotional support pet. So her and her cat have a private dorm room.
Oh, man. Okay.
Hey,
she is so smart.
Yeah, there
she
you
took
go.
the cat to Oregon, and they have a private dorm room.
She's figured it out.
Hey, Josh, building a catio might be a good at-home show topic.
A catio?
A catio.
Yeah, a catio.
That's something my wife has wanted for years, is a catio for our 3 cats. And just like everybody else, I wasn't a cat person, but I don't like our cats. Like they annoy the heck out of me. But if anybody else does anything to them, I'll probably beat them down.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. Then you really do need to build the catio then, because they could be outside. My plan was that the cat could just, the window would be open and it would be protected because we have coyotes.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe this? In Sherman Oaks, which is a very, completely suburban area. I mean, literally, we're in the suburbs, and we have coyotes, and we have raccoons that are as big as a pit bull that run around at night there. It's really, and the possums are also huge there.
And the possums are not just playing either.
No, my wife has a great possum story. She was sitting in our backyard next to a lemon tree reading one night. This possum fell out of the tree right next to her.
Ouch.
It was hissing. She was frozen in fear. It's like to listen to her tell it makes me laugh every time. She's like, I didn't know what to do. It looked like it was going to attack me, but it was frozen. I was frozen. They just sat there staring at each other, like screaming.
We had a coyote right on Division Street in Smyrna, Tennessee the other morning.
They get around. A lot of foxes, a lot of, particularly red foxes.
Foxes, those are beautiful.
Your story there reminds me, when we lived up in Auburn and we just got our cats, the oldest male cat, Simon, we saw him coming across the street, and he just looked so proud. I mean, he had his head up. He was prancing. He had a bird in his mouth. So he comes up and he drops this bird at my wife's feet. And she goes, what? And I said, he's bringing you a gift. That's great. And she goes, oh, that's sweet. And she bent down. The bird flew up, hit her right in the face, and took off.
Just playing with it.
Yeah, I didn't say you could keep it. I'm just bringing it to you.
Yeah, it's just something fun.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm really impressed. I'm so happy you guys are doing the show this way now, and I hope that it benefits you greatly, because this is the world that we're living in now.
Well, we hope.
It's just all that connection. It's so cool to see you guys instead of just hear you.
We hope that we're going to be able to get a commitment for you to come on every now and again, because we're only doing a 1 hour format now.
When I start gardening in May, when I start figuring out what bits I want to do in May,
there you go.
I will let you guys humiliate me with my choices. Because I grew up in a farm community. I grew up in a mechanic's household, and the 2 things I didn't learn were mechanic and farming. I was like, no, I smoked dope and ride skateboards. That's what I do. You guys can all leave me alone.
But Corey, the first thing you need to grow, and I mean, you could probably grow them in a container out there in California or in Chicago, maybe even in there in the apartment there, radishes.
Yeah. Really?
Trust me.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing.
And they're very good in cold weather. So,
radishes.
Yeah.
If you're into radishes. Now, if you're not into them, then maybe not.
Carrots.
My property in Sherman Oaks is tiny. It's a postage stamp. It's good. It's mostly concrete. It's just the way it was. But there was an area next to my garage on the driveway side, which essentially, I guess, the sun went across us north-south. It didn't get sun all day, but the people before us had planted strawberries. And they went nuts for years. These strawberries just kept coming and coming and coming. It was crazy. I'd never experienced it. Then we took over and decided to try to grow some things there. And the only thing that worked well was the squash that we did and the tomatoes. And my wife calls them volunteers. We had the seeds that would fall and like you didn't know they were planted, and all of a sudden there'd be a plant there. And that was really fun. And so this year, literally, Stephanie and I have been talking about it with the kids gone, and I enjoy on my time off. I really do like noodling outside. I'm just terrible at
we will get you back on to discuss that and other things. And we want to really appreciate your time today, Corey. Coming on,
Thank you.
Corey Pollard, we're glad to have him
and
on.
watch Stand By Me today. Go watch.
It's a good rainy day project.
Awesome.
Check it out. So, Corey, great to see you, buddy.
Waterworld,
You
too.
too,
I
man.
love
Thanks,
Waterworld.
David. Thanks, Josh.
All righty, guys.
See you
You guys
All
have
right.
a great day.
Yep. Next Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come back. Corey is an old friend, and
He's
once
not
in a
that
while-
old.
No, he's
He's 47. I don't know how old he is, actually.
He's
but
at least
that's-
47.
That's the old Monty Python line.
But folks, we're not always about landscaping and home
Yeah,
improvement.
we can talk about other things.
Frick and frack, huh?
Click and clack.
Click and clack. Yeah.
All right, whatever. Furniture guys is actually where we resemble probably in horse hire and all. But for everybody here at the At Home Show from the Green Room Studios, we'll see you here right back on Saturday morning next week.